Welcome back, everybody, to WCS America Premier League. For the last time today, we are getting ready for our deciding series. Is it going to be Neeb or is it going to be Czech? Either way, it's been a really fun day already. I think we had so many good series, a lot to talk about. We had a couple of giggles as well, as some of the things we've seen have not been very standard. But the most shocking thing today, Nate, has been the vetos of Frost.
The vetos of Frost. It happened in 2 series today. This will actually go down in esports history.
Yes.
WCS Season 2, the only 2 players brave enough. I'm sure it's happened somewhere else. I don't know.
Neeb, the type of Terran to veto Frost.
Neeb, a.k.a. that guy that vetoes Frost. And I'm really excited about this series because we've had already a few times where, you know, we have our non-Korean take out a Korean in the first, and then in the rematch, you know, gets basically swatted down in a much less competitive fashion. So this series between Neeb, as you guys can see, our American Terran up against Czech, the Korean Zerg. Czech withstood the storm of Top's very interesting strategies and, you know, just his general awkward play. But Neeb has shown us a very clean series in the first one against Czech. I think that's the most important part to mention when we talk about the styles that our non-Korean players are using to win. You really cannot play any more standard than Neeb played in those games. There was nothing crazy, no builds that kind of catch you off guard. Didn't even get any big mine hits or drops. It was just very standard, crisp, cookie cutter Terran versus Zerg, and that's exactly what he needs to get out of this group. And I feel like from the way that first series went, it's also quite unlikely that we'll even have a mix, like a change up of all. I still think it'll be 8 Hellions, 3 barracks, double engineering, be like super standard play again.
Well, standard so far is as well. The map was it's the same as in the previous series, even though we switched up the map picks a little bit. The first map is going to be played on Way Station, which was a deciding map in the last series. The second map is going to be played on King Sejong, and the third map, if necessary, is going to be played on Overgrowth. So that means if history repeats itself, Neeb wins 2-0.
That would be pretty crazy. That would be pretty crazy. Our first American into the round of 16 would be pretty awesome. Especially, you know, I've got my little bit of Terran fanboyism going for Neeb, as well as we've seen some fantastic games from both him and Tasia moving on from the earlier phases of this game. But, you know, Way Station being our starting map as the map that things finished up on in the last series, I think is really interesting because we could get up a completely different game if we get the close spawns. I really wouldn't be surprised if Neeb pulled out a really bold build order. Even like a 2 racks on those spawns is almost never a bad idea because of how close you are to the other player. When I just look at the way that this is set up, there's so many options. And I would say that long spawn Way Station, the spawns that they had in the first time they played, definitely is a situation that favors the Zerg more. And being able to win under those circumstances, Neeb has a very realistic shot. And then Czech, I mean, what's more to say? They both just play so standard. There's no real defining strategies that they choose. It's just their mechanics and their decision-making when it comes to taking engagements.
So far, we had 3 Zergs qualify for the round of 16, 2 Protoss players and 2 Terran players. So for that perfect racial distribution, the Terran kind of has to make it as well, because then it goes 3-3-2, and you know, it can't really get any more balanced than that.
I can't argue with that logic. Neeb has to win now, guys.
Yes,
it's
written in the stars, like all over the place.
Well,
I can feel it.
It's all over Craft games, it would seem. We're loading down now. Countdown, excuse me, just finished, so it's time to see who is going to be moving on. This is it. If you win, round of 16. If you lose, you're knocked out. And losing in the round of 32 is never fun. You don't get into that guaranteed money for the next season. Got to go out a challenger again.
Still more fun than not making it into Premier League at all, though. You still walk away with $2,000, which is not bad.
Still a little bit of money. Not bad at all.
Alrighty, well, things are different, actually, in our final series today. As you guys can see already behind us, if you have good eyes, you can see the mini-map above Nate's shoulder. And you can see that we do have the close spawning location, so it's going to be a completely different game than what we saw earlier today.
Yes, it is. And for the final time tonight, of course, in our bottom left position, we have the red Terran player representing Fnatic. It is Neeb.
I like the little symbol/logo he's using as well.
Yeah, man. It's a little arm with the whip.
Yeah, he's like making sure that those SUVs are working.
He's the warden. He's the warden of this mineral line. His opponent in the top right position, playing for Way Spiders. It is the blue-green Zerg Czech. And Czech has been through it all today. He played the very solid macro series versus Neeb earlier. Then he had to play maybe one of the craziest games we've seen in this group or even in WCS America overall against top. And now it's time to just probably end up grinding out another macro. I still feel like Czech could be the player to go aggressive in this series first.
Do you think that we're going to see Neeb go real crazy and take the island super quickly?
It's really weird to look at situations where taking that island works out. Like, I think I watched there was like a match, and it's one of these Taiwanese leagues where it's like MVP playing against Scarlet, and the island base, if you go for mech and your opponent doesn't play Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk, like if they don't have mutas out super fast, then it's one of those situations where it's easy to get it in time that you can like get missile turrets up there. But for standard play, I don't think taking the island is ever a bad idea as a fourth base, because by then you can either use a drop to hold it or you can build a lot of missile turrets. I don't know. I don't really play this map much myself, let alone many Terran versus Zergs.
Did you veto it, Nate?
I vetoed this map.
Shame on you. How can you veto?
I like playing on King Sejong Station too much.
And
those tank pushes.
I'm sure you didn't veto Frost.
No, I actually did veto Frost.
Yeah,
it's the only map Blink still works on.
All right, first Reaper is on the way for Neeb. In the previous series, we saw him open a lot with double Reaper into 8 Hellions. It worked for him, but this is a little different already as well. You could say that 6 Hellions will almost get the same job done as 8 Hellions would over here, I feel, with these spawn locations and the way that everything plays out. But we will see. Czech knows what Neeb is capable of. And by the way, in the loading screen, I saw Neeb was still listed on the Fnatic Academy. I thought he was promoted to Real Fnatic, or is he still in the Academy? If he is, then someone gives him a promotion.
Yeah, I was going to say that regardless of whatever it is, I feel like just speaking from the heart where he should be.
Yeah.
As this Reaper is going to go up across and jump in. Of course, one defining characteristic of these spawns is it is one of the only spawn positions on any of the maps that were added this season that a Reaper can very easily jump in and out. So that Reaper
takes
goes in.
a lot of damage immediately. He has to be a little bit careful there.
Yeah, he checks the gas, which is the most important part. And when you know that your opponent, Zerg, has opened up gasless, it's really nice because you can just park your Reapers outside of their base. You attack, take some damage, heal, step back.
How many attacks?
And then you can just go. I mean, it might actually be like 4 full volleys you can survive from a queen. It's like you time it out perfectly, and you always get away with like just a few hit points.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely important that Neeb doesn't lose one of these Reapers, and of course he won't do that. But indeed, a gasless opening by Czech. Do you think that he might just throw down like extractors around 6 minutes something, and then we see Evo Roach Warren?
So from this setup, because of how far out the third bases are, there's absolutely no way on the face of this earth he's going to take his third base before he gets Zergling speed or Roaches.
I kind of feel Roaches.
Yeah, I think 2 extractors at maybe 5.5 minutes. If he waits till 6 minutes, that feels a bit late. But then you move into Roaches like this map, because of how short the rush distances are, this map absolutely begs for that 1-1 Roach timing that is so difficult to stop normally.
Yep, and there's no ramp over here either, so these Roaches will have vision immediately. Don't have to worry about that, don't have to funnel through anything.
Yeah.
Have quite a bit of surface area over here, so that would be, yeah, it's more than a reasonable map for it, or it's more than solid to go for it. We see 3 extractors finishing up at the same time. It could also still be some Roach Bane action, even though speed is... Oh, maybe.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Roach Baneling just kind of reduces the amount of Roaches you make. The 1-1 upgrade's really, really nice for this setup because it basically also makes sure the Terran player can't take their third base. So these Queens are going to try to push out. Killing the Creep Tumors would be nice. He's done a lot of damage to the Queen with the most energy, which is also very important. But there's that Roach Warren on the way, and with Zergling speed and no evolution chambers, you might be onto something, Kev. Maybe he does just go for
if he gets his queen with the most energy, he does. That's a really nice pickup because there's no transfuse on the other one either. So now this Reaper can just heal up. That was a fantastic pickup for Neeb. That's gonna slow things down a little bit. None of these queens have energy for transfuse. This one, you know, he really wants, but he's not. I think this other queen is going to fall as well. He can really do something right now with these 4 Reapers and these 2 Hellions. If only he knew what we knew.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm mostly looking at right now, which makes me feel a little bit uneasy.
Look, he can really do it.
Like, these Hellions and Reapers are doing a great amount of pressure, don't get me wrong, but with this Baneling nest, on the way, then this queen would be nice. He does pick it off.
Yeah.
His engineering bases are up front, which are good versus the Banelings.
This is really good for Neeb. Yes, there are 12 Roaches on the way, which is really scary. But if he keeps his units over here, and if he keeps doing as good as he does, then he's going to see this in time as well. I don't really like.
I'm really happy he scanned though, because his setup back home is not at all prepared to deal with this.
Bunker.
Okay, this is what I was trying to get at. Like, his very, very dangerous spot to be in, because those roaches can still just pick off his engineering bays and cancel all his upgrades. And the first roaches come out, pick off one of those Hellions.
6 bunkers. All right.
Yeah, see, this is kind of what I was worried about. This actually, it's funny because he doesn't even have enough bio units, I think, to fill all these.
No.
I guess the Reaper.
He has 3.
If you put 1 Reaper in each of the bunkers.
And a Marauder and 3 Marines all in one marker. Man, Neeb is taking care of his soldiers.
Yeah. I still think that at the very worst, though, at the very best, he should still be able to get both of those engineering bays. Like, there's no real reason he shouldn't.
Here comes the Baylings. The depot is down as well. That's done good.
Runs right into those first couple bunkers, tries to unload. He has just the Marauder in the front one, but there's just so much here from Czech. This is exactly what Czech was looking to do with this push, and he's got almost all his money's worth.
He can go to the main base, maybe.
It's still really important that he actually kills Neeb. Like, with 3 command centers, if you survive this, anything is possible because of that bunker that he has on the low ground. But he's actually brought the Queens forward. He's building more Banelings, and I think Czech did exactly what he needed to do. You know, those Hellions, it was great pressure to pick off those Queens, but I really feel like if he'd started building Marauders earlier, if he hadn't put his engineering base up the front, that's an attack that is a lot easier to hold when you're prepared for it. And Czech takes advantage of that, gets the game 1 victory, and puts himself very quickly 1 map away from moving on to the round of 16.
Don't you also feel that it maybe would have been better to keep those Hellions and Reapers on that side of the map for a little bit and like try to buy more time? Because if he buys like 30 seconds for himself, he has a few extra bio units and he can actually fill up that bunker. And maybe if that depot isn't raised or if that depot isn't lowered, then at least a few Banelings will detonate on that depot. And it all takes a little bit longer. I felt that I know it's really risky because you want to use those Hellions at home as well against the reinforcing Zerglings. You don't want to lose them for nothing. But I feel that it would have been better for him to just be dancing back and forth rather than just running back and sitting there and taking it all.
Perhaps, but I also feel this is a bit more of an issue with the way that Neeb played the map, right? He went double engineering bay before he added on any additional barracks, so he had 1 barracks. And when you look at the way that map is set up, obviously your Hellions and Reapers, because there's no Zergling speed, when they're out in front of the natural like that, you know a drone isn't going to be able to slip by. Like, if the Queens pushed him out and a drone escaped, he would see it or he would kill it. So when you know there's no third base, it doesn't hurt to take a couple extra precautions. I don't fault him for it because he did get a lot of damage done to the Queens, and maybe he thought it would slow down a push. But Czech never replaced those Queens. He wasn't looking to take that game very long. And just a couple of small adjustments really could have helped him. Getting the barracks before the engineering bays, I feel, is a must when you're playing versus 2-base Zerg.
Yep. Well said there, Nate. Our second map is going to be played on King Sejong Station. Will Neeb have what it takes to bring it back? This was probably also a one-time thing for Czech. He busted out something crazy, did it different. And, you know, the reason why I kind of expected it is also because he showed us multiple times, and even in the past when I saw some of his games, he just likes opening solid, safe, you know, with speed, and then makes a few Zerglings, and he goes up to 3 base, he just macros up. The moment that he does something completely different, especially when the spawn locations are that close, I kind of just felt it was in the line of expectation for him to either go for the crazy Roach push or a Roach Bane action, especially by the time that he took his extractors. It would all line up so well.
Yeah, Czech played the map much better, I would say. Neeb played his standard style, which would have been fine if it was the other spawning positions on that map. But we'll have to see if... I guess, you know, he could probably do the same thing on this map, and he'd be a lot better off with the rush distance. So I wouldn't be surprised if Neeb actually... he doesn't adjust his play at all.
Which I wouldn't mind either, because earlier today... it all comes down to execution the majority of the time in this matchup anyway. Like, as long as you don't die against early game, you know, I not really necessarily want to say cheese, but like against a semi-all-in or something along those lines, then it will all come down to the big engagements, the splits, the Widowmine positions, and of course securing 4 bases or 5th even.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. When you're playing Terran versus Zerg, as you said, the execution often comes down to it. And even that game, like even in that position, with the way that those bunkers were set up and everything, if maybe he has his units in the back bunkers, if he has just a couple more Marines, like if you have 3 command centers versus a 2-base Zerg who also pulled their Queens, like you can come back 100% from that with just 3, like triple mule it's incredible what you can do with that.
If you survive with 15 SCVs, you're actually in okay shape.
Yeah. It's so tough to call though, because the other thing is, what if you went to take a third base with just a few roaches and then Neeb builds 8 bunkers and then nothing really happens? It's kind of awkward, but it goes a bit longer. Who knows what could have happened? Neeb, this game's going to go for a command center first, so he wants to take that economic position in this map.
Which I think is really cool as well. You know, after the last game showing that he's not too paranoid. Tournament life on the line, of course, for this young, talented, aspiring Fnatic Terran player. But showing us that he's not shaken up just yet. He's going to forget about that game immediately. Czech also playing a very economic game over here, not dropping an early spawning pool at all.
Nope, I don't. He's got not too much to worry about. If there's one thing that we've seen, Neeb hasn't really shown himself to be much of a quote-unquote cheeser. No proxy play coming out of him. Hayden Barracks, that Overlord will see the command center building, and that SCV is not spotted. Of course, I guess it doesn't really matter because it's a 2-player map. But
it's like, yeah, this is the Overlord.
He did try to snipe Overlords earlier, so
that's true.
Neeb probably has a little notebook when he's playing. He's like, right, this Overlord, this position.
No, it is actually really good if you sometimes switch things up just a tiny bit, getting a Marine in the position or a Stalker a few seconds quicker than Zerg players expected. That also makes a difference between killing an Overlord or not. But of course, if you got comments in the first, nothing like that is possible. See the SCV scout over here on the left top side of the map. An extractor was going down, by the way. I'm pretty damn sure. Yeah, I'm like, unless that was just an extractor trick, but I'm pretty sure he had an extractor on a production tab, and then he saw the command center first and he cancelled it.
Yeah, the 6 lost resources, man. Extractor tricks are
expensive.
Very cost effective.
Very expensive too. 6 minerals can make the difference between being able to afford another hatch or not in a crazy base race, Nate.
I want to see a game where someone loses the game by 6 minerals now.
I mean, don't tell me that you've never lost a game because of 6 minerals.
I mean, 6 exactly.
In all the thousands of games, well, maybe not 6 exactly, but you know that you're just a few minerals short.
My buildings can fly. I don't have to worry about rebuilding them.
That's true. Well, that's the first world problems of a Protoss player, I guess.
Well, he's got his bunkers set up. Reactor will be kicking off on this barracks as the factory is in production for Neeb. I still wholeheartedly expect him to move into a 3rd command center. He's taking no additional gas geysers, as it's just Queens pumping out now. So from Czech as well, we're going to have ourselves once more a very standard, smooth, free-flowing macro game between these
other
guys.
Game where Neeb went command center first was on Way Station earlier today, correct?
Yeah, he went on the low ground.
And then he still made 8 Hellions as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it was just pretty much the same on the fact that there were no 2 Reapers to soak up a few shots. We do see the extractors go down right now for Czech, after realizing that he was playing against command center first, didn't have to worry about those silly Reapers, and was not going to sweat it all that much.
Nope, not at all. So there's 2 gas geysers on the way. There's still potential here for this to be something along the lines of another Roach-based play. I immediately think back to, of course, Violet's match on this map yesterday, and we saw really good use of those roaches to keep army units pushed back and delay that natural from actually being able to mine anything.
Yeah, that was such a cool game by Violet. Who did Violet play again?
I think it was QXC.
Oh yes, it was QXC when he went through these destructible rocks and just slowed his opponent down. It was an excellent game by Violet.
Yeah, it was really cool, and I think it is a really popular way to play with the roaches. He starts Zergling speed anyway. It's obviously not what he has to do. I think there was like another game, and it might have been WCS Europe. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's that TLO bust out some roach action, and it is very, very popular these days. But these Hellions are going to come bring on some pressure. I don't think there's too much he can really do though with the number of queens on the map.
No, it's just going to be the same old, the dance between the Hellions and the Queens. Queens trying to drop some creep to us. Jack has shown us multiple times today, if you give him freedom to spread creep, he is going to do that. He's going to jump on that opportunity, and the entire map is going to be covered in creep.
Yep, 2 evolution chambers on the way, and Neeb, okay, he's taking actually 2 extra refineries. He's taking all of his gas before he started those extra barracks, which feels a little weird, but I'm sure there's a reason for it. His upgrades are going to be reasonably well timed in conjunction with his opponent, so a pretty fair setup from him.
This is really worth mentioning as well, because that final game that Neeb did win in the series earlier, we did see the super late upgrades from Czech. Of course, he opened up a little different and everything was slightly different, but by the time that 1-1 was ready for the Terran player, Czech fired up his 1-1, either because he forgot it or if for some reason he wanted to delay it for a while, but most likely he just completely forgot about it. That's not going to happen this time. The layer is still relatively quick, he's going to be able to drop his Spire at 9 minutes 50 seconds if he drops it immediately. Nothing wrong with that.
Nope, not at all. More barracks being added on by Neeb in his base. Starport's on the way. I guess the one nice thing, like he does have a little bit of gas floating, which is why I was a little curious about him taking all of it at once, but it does make sure that he'll have the gas as soon as he needs it. For actually a pretty crisp, he could get 2-2 while building medevacs pretty consistently, so he'll bank a little bit and then spend it all very fast.
Aliens is cruising around, taking a look at the production tab. Check being more and more careful. Circlings that he lost early on. It's really funny how in the very first game of the day he lost so many, and then even on Overgrowth he lost a few. Then on Way Station he barely lost any, and now the fifth time they play, but the fourth time they play a macro game, you can just see him be so extremely cautious with everything. Only losing three Zerglings so far. Just doesn't want to lose anything up. Doesn't want to lose a single unit if it's not necessary, basically.
Yep. These queens are pushing out quite a bit, trying to make sure he can spread the creep as much as possible with those speedlings there to support.
Could be relatively annoying over here on the left side of the map, as there are quite a few. I don't think Neeb is aware of it at all.
I really like this. Neeb's move to take this third base very early on in all of these games, but the bunker's done. He's got 4 Marines. Get in the bunker. Go. Okay. It's all good.
Raise the depots. Well done here. I mean, well done by both players. Czech losing a few Zerglings, but it wasn't for nothing. He tried to make something happen over here, and he got a reasonable scout off, if that truly matters. Of course, everything he saw is what you expect to see, but he tried to find an opportunity. It wasn't there. It got closer, because imagine those links do run up this ramp and do start like on hold position in this mineral line. That would be extremely annoying already for a turn.
Yeah, he's starting to push up front. He's got his medevacs out, but there's already quite a few Zerglings and Banelings, and there's so many active creep tumors that killing just a few of these might not even cut it. The Zerglings come in. He's going to try to surround Neeb's forces. Czech possibly getting the best trade he's had against this early push out from the Terran player in today's games. Only saves almost 1 medevacs full of units.
Yeah, very well done here by Czech. Also, still without bailing speed, of course, but just a good engagement early on, getting a good surround, or at least half of a surround on that army. His Spire is about to finish up, and bailing speed is about to finish up as well. And like you said, Nate, yes, that scan went down, but the queens are still alive. There are still so many active creep tumors. Czech's creep threat, if you give him freedom, or not even if you give him freedom, he just finds a way. And imagine if he plays against a Terran that does actually give him freedom.
Yeah, I was looking at the production tab. He just had like 16 tumors being built at once. He's really heavily focusing on this.
Of course, you know, Neeb's economy is still pretty uncontested, but he's going to have to do something about this map vision of Czech, because we saw that early today on the game like Overgrowth, where if Czech sees everything and if just nothing slows him down, it is really hard to deal with him. So it's going to be really hard that Neeb has a few things going for himself soon, but right now everything is looking quite okay for Czech.
Yeah, both players are getting their 2-2 at pretty nice timings as well. There shouldn't be any upgrade discrepancies between the two of these guys until maybe 3-3 comes in for Neeb. But it's become a very passive game. It's quite different. There's the classic Spore Spine combo.
Always next to each other.
Always next to each other.
Doesn't spread them out, doesn't make two, always just 1-on-1.
Like peas in a pod, man.
We'll get the job done. 18 Banelings right now with speed on the map. Scan will go down. I love how Czech is hiding in the majority of his force. He's gonna run forward right now. There are a few Widowmines in the mix though. Widowmines might be able to get some juicy connections off if Czech would take a bad fight.
He's got the Marauders up front as well. Still quite a few Marauders in his army composition to help soak up. 7 Marauders in total. And it's a lot of Banelings. I could die on those now.
Murakan Slober setting climbing over 100 Zerglings, or at least we had before. More Banelings moving more. Still, the Widowmines are going to have to be the game changers over here. Is Czech going to commit to his Widowmines? Getting some good shots off.
But these Banelings are still trading pretty damn well, it seems. The spread now for Neeb is fine, but the rest of these Banelings do quite well. The Thor, though, is getting some nice hits off on this Mutalisks.
I feel that was quite okay for Neeb. I think he got reasonable trades over there. Of course, you know.
I don't know if he has enough steam to push any further forward, though. Like, stepping on creep is quite risky.
Yeah, but I mean, he's going to fire up 3-3. Maybe if he pushes creep back just a little bit, then back off, because he lost most of his Widowmines in the long run. He still has these rocks over here that he could potentially work with. We see a 4th command center go down. It's really important right now for Neeb that he doesn't like what he did earlier today on Overgrowth, where he took too many fights with a small percentage of his army. He has to make sure that he doesn't lose 30-40 supply for almost no reason.
Yeah, very, very important. Those changelings, of course, getting a read on where the army is. And since he knows where the army is, guess what? The Mutalisks can try to do some harass. They're sitting there on the right side of the map, getting ready to maybe move in, snipe an extractor, missile turret, anything they can get their grubby little paws on as he takes out 1 turret. Could go for some SCVs. He's just going to clear out the static defense for now. And these Marines actually get a couple of hits off on
Those
him.
Marines were hidden, man. I didn't even see them. I thought like, wow, these SCVs are doing some serious damage. It's like, wait, SCVs don't attack me.
There's actually still quite a few changelings with that army too. Just now cleaning up all save one. That's actually really annoying.
3-3 is halfway done for Neeb. Still hovering around over here in the middle of the map. Has currently 55 Marines on the map against 77 Zerglings and 31 Banelings, with 20 more Banelings currently morphing. A big counterattack over here on the left side of the map. That is enough to actually completely wipe out this base. While Neeb is stepping on creep and has to be dangerous. This is a great counterattack, I think, by Czech.
Yep, he's going to move a bunch of these Banelings and the SCVs trying to evacuate.
That's a
Getting
trap.
these SCVs would be nice. He does pick off all of them. These Banelings getting massive detonations. And Neeb's army returns, but isn't even enough to kill this whole force off. He's going to run into the natural now. He's blown up a lot of the Banelings on buildings, but still, great job so far. The Mutalisks run into the main base. There's only one missile turret here by this mineral line to help defend against this.
Great counter though by Czech.
And Czech's already maxed out again.
Yep. He had money to spare and he used it properly. He's going to work on these engineering base a little bit as well. Of course, doesn't want to lose his Mutalisk, but very well done there by Czech. For the first time, I feel as well that he's like contesting, that he's disturbing the economy of Neeb. He's not like, I'm not just going to let you get down, get up to 4 bases or let you mine out 3 bases almost immediately. He even took out the Orbiter command, so the 4th command center is basically a 3rd base right now. These Wither mines are left for that.
Yep. Detonate, and then the Banelings show up. Marauder is here though.
Hero Marauder.
Gets gets to splash, a little splash of Baneling acid.
Mutalisk are going to snipe this medevac over here on the left side of the map. Czech doing a really good job with that. He's been doing it all day long.
Czech's really turned it up, it seems, for this game, though. Like, he's got so many resources banked.
Look at these Banelings. Neeb's not ready for this yet. Does drop the rocks.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah. But I mean, he needs more than that. Army supply, Neeb is doing okay. He has something to work with, but is this enough? I feel there are not that many Marines anymore in this mix. And Czech is still producing a ridiculous amount of units. Has a lot of mutas over here as well. No missile turrets, no Marines. This base is so exposed. And Neeb's SCV count is actually reaching critical low numbers right now.
Czech seems to have found Neeb's weakness here. He's just gone full crazy macro mode. He's still got so many resources banked despite being constantly maxed, clearing out several mineral lines of Neeb, preventing the 4th base, and he's basically mining off 1 base economy at this point, even with those mules.
Yeah, and even right now with 3-3 on the way as well, and the Ultralisk Cavern going down, and still having a ridiculous amount of Banelings at any given moment in the game. Czech has definitely stepped it up. He's playing some fantastic StarCraft, and Neeb trying to do his best to hang in there. He has one more big army to work with, Nate. Here we go.
Yeah, Banelings come on in, and Mutalisks are on the right side. The Thors take some shots, but there's so much. He's got leftovers for days in this fight. Mutalisks spread out over the Thors, and yeah, they're going to kill a few of these mutas, but Czech is going to put out 76 more Zerglings. GG is called, and we have our 2nd player from Group D moving on to the round of 16.
Czech will make it, which is definitely exciting as well, as we haven't really seen Czech yet make a big journey, make a trip overseas, come over here to America. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said at the start of the day, I feel Czech is very similar to what we had with Hyun and Revival and even Violet, like in 2011, those Korean Zergs that sometimes play in foreign competitions, but we didn't really know how good they truly were. I think that Czech can go very far, and especially in those last games. Also, again, Stop being in a hard position, still coming back. And in this final game on King Sejong, he played really, really good.
Yeah, that was just fantastic play. He really stepped it up from compared to what we saw in the first series. A couple mishaps, but also really great job of taking advantage of Neeb's kind of predictable style at this point. He opened up the same way, whether it was through Reaper or Command Center first, every single game that he's played today. And not really a bad thing if you can execute it properly, but Czech just took it to a whole nother level. Neeb almost didn't even look like he had a chance in that final series.
No, it didn't. And then again, it's also always about momentum. Maybe if game 1 goes a little bit better for him, maybe if he sees it coming in time, a few extra Marines, and he holds that push and he goes up 1-0, then anything is still possible.
Yeah.
Sky is the limit. Either way, it was a really fun day of StarCraft. We had 3 extremely close series that all ended 2-1, and I guess we can take a look at the entire overview of today's games, as we can talk you through. If you missed a couple of the games, of course, the games will always be uploaded on YouTube as well. You can just search for it. Make sure to enter WCS in the search bar as well.
Yeah, lots of games. Today's games by far definitely some of the best to look at. Of course, probably just a couple keywords to describe these games. We had complete madness with our first upper bracket match of Tasia top. Then Neeb check was just solid, solid, solid. And that final series between Tasia and Neeb really could have gone either way, looking at how a couple of those games ended up, of course, before Tasia was able to move on. And then the lower bracket, we had more absolute madness with top versus Czech. And then, well, you guys just saw Czech overpower Neeb in the final series.
Round of 16 is shaping up to be pretty sick. There are so many good players. It's also fun to see, like I said earlier today, Tasia really showing a lot of fighting spirit. And like I said, this is a big day for Tasia because this was the first time. We saw him in a couple of the AC Team Story Cup matches recently, but I wasn't exactly sure what kind of shape Tasia is in, you know, how motivated is he. But he looked motivated. He had a lot of fighting spirit with him, and he played solid. So June, once again, guys, extremely big month for StarCraft. We're going to have a Home Story Cup. We're going to have a DreamHack. We're going to have MLG Anaheim. But of course, we have a lot of WCS action as well. And even tomorrow, we have some WCS action. Take a look at Europe's broadcast, which starts in roughly, I guess, 14 hours from now on.
Yeah, they're going to have Group G playing out. MMA, Daishi, 4G, Live Zerg. I watched this morning's group to see Happy play. I will definitely watch to see those Terrans play tomorrow.
That is a group that just gets you all excited, doesn't it, Nate?
Oh, yes, it does. And then, of course, we're going to have what some people have said is the group of death for us tomorrow. WCS America Group E with Hyun, Season 1 champion of WCS America, Hart, Jaedong, and, of course, one of your favorite Protosses, Roddy, I know, Jim.
Jim. Jim. Keeps it clean. Nah, it's going to be a lot of fun. All those games look amazing. I'm definitely going to cheering for Daishi a little bit as well, as he's one of my favorite European Terrans. So I'll try to wake up early, and I should be able to do that. We'll watch some Europe, and then we make the trip over here. Of course, that is not all, guys. We still want you to participate in the ESL Fantasy League as well. And rumor is just saying we got an update. Instead of just selecting one Yon Mello for your fantasy team, if you ask nicely, you can put 2 tots in your team. Guaranteed champion, Nate.
Guaranteed champion. Well, there you have it, guys. We've already put in a free way for you to break the system. But, of course, check it out. Pick your favorite 2 players from each region. You can find all the Terrans, of course. We've managed to get quite a few in for each region so far. So if you're a buff for any particular race, it's all good. And, of course, the points are based on their performance. So pick who you think will actually win. It's okay to have your EU team be those 2 Protoss guys.
Yes. Overall, Nate, I think it's been a lot of fun. We saw some amazing StarCraft, and like we said already, we'll be back again tomorrow, as Nate said as well. Sort of the group of death, at least, you know, according to a lot of people on Team Liquid. Hyun, Hart, Jaedong, and Jim. I'm extremely stoked for it. So I guess we're just going to take the night off. Maybe watch some NBA, as the Spurs are currently playing against OKC. That's always fun. American sports. I'm trying, Nate. I'm trying to fit in over here. Either way, you have any famous last words before we're going to say goodbye?
No, just thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys, and peace.